Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Room Podcast 1. I am your host, once again, Tyrell Jackson. And before I get started on the video, guys, go ahead and hit the like button. Let's try to get to 5 likes on this video. Hit subscribe, hit that little bell besides the subscribe button, so you go ahead and get the notifications once a video is uploaded. And also share this amongst social media, whether it's Twitter or Facebook or anything like that. And also follow the page on Twitter for news, polls, news about the channel, and also scores that is happening around the world of sports. So here we go with another edition of the weekend review. This is where I basically read off some headlines and also just give a brief summary of my take on it as well. And I also give out key games to look out for throughout the week. Now, some of the key games that I had given out turned out to be really good. The Lakers and 76ers came down to the wire, and also Boston and San Antonio also came down to the wire as well. So I didn't have that many key games last week, but I got a little bit more in my notes. So let's get started. And usually I do this from before we get started. I usually do Friday through Sunday night into a little bit of Monday morning because I record this in the morning. So it's not a lot of news getting out there. Excuse me, in the morning. But nonetheless, actually going to start off. That happened Thursday night, and that is the Browns hiring John Dorsey as the new general manager of the Cleveland Browns. They hired him basically the same day that they fired Sashi Brown from that same position. Apparently, they've been talking to him for about 5 to 6 weeks. This matches the timeline that the AJ McCarron trade did not go through. And John Dorsey's the new general manager of the Cleveland Browns. My take on it real quick. I think this is a good move. Got a football guy. Not all football guys work. I know about the Mike Holmgren era here because everybody decided they brought a football guy and Holmgren fucked it up. But got a football guy here who has climbed his way up in the ranks from being a scout in the NFL. He was a scout in the NFL all the way until he was a general manager for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, he didn't do most of that rebuild alone in Kansas City because Andy Reid did have some say as well in the decision making on which players they should get. But his track record as far as a draft, it does sound pretty good. He drafted Kareem Hunt, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, just to name a few names that he had also drafted, but now he's going to be doing this basically by himself. You know, Hugh Jackson is going to have some say in the decisions on picking a quarterback or just a player in general, but not as much say as Andy Reid did out in Kansas City. They also, he is going to be the guy that basically, like I said, just going to be making that decision by himself. Kind of losing track of my memory here a little bit of what I just said. But overall, I think so far this is a good hire by the Cleveland Browns. How they handle the hiring is another thing. I didn't like that. It's like, okay, you knew he was going to fire Sashi Brown at this time frame. Why did you not just go ahead and fire him once the trade fell through and then go ahead and go through the interview, have John Dorsey come in, and boom, you got John Dorsey. And you would have introduced John Dorsey sooner because basically 5 weeks ago, he was the general manager already. He's coming in the building. They said this at the press conference on Friday that he basically came in the building weeks prior to the announcement being made. He was able to meet the players. He was able to meet some of the scouts. He was able to meet with the head coach and get to know the players from a personal standpoint and also from a professional standpoint prior to the hiring being announced. So if he already did all of this and you guys knew that you were going to can Sashi Brown, you should have just went ahead and canned Sashi Brown 5 weeks ago. So I didn't like how that was handled at all. But nonetheless, Sashi Brown's out. John Dorsey's in. And let's see what John Dorsey can do as far as picking out talent for the Browns now that he has majority of the say instead of splitting it 3 ways or 2 ways or anything like that. Hugh Jackson is going to remain the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Jimmy Haslam said in the press conference that he plans on having Hugh Jackson here a long time. I don't agree with it. You go 1-28 in 2 years. Everybody needs to get fired. And I know the problem with the Browns is that there's no stability. But when you go 1-28, there's no room for stability. Everybody needs to go. Everybody needs to just leave and just rebuild it fresh and new. In the past, they've done it even where I felt like, okay, you really shouldn't be doing it. You should be fixing pieces here and there. Maybe you should change the coach, not the front office, or vice versa. But it's looking like Haslam's taking the change the front office approach and keeping the head coach there when I feel like everybody needs to get fired because, once again, Sashi Brown's 1-28. Paul DePodesta is 1-28. Hugh Jackson is 1-28. Well, Sashi Brown's 1-27. Excuse me. But Paul DePodesta and Hugh Jackson is 1-28. Hugh Jackson should not keep a job. And I personally, knowing how 1 minute Jimmy Haslam says one thing and then something else happens, I personally think if the Browns really do go 0-16, there's 3 games left. If they do go 0-16, I don't think Hugh Jackson is going to keep a job here. I feel like if he keeps his job at 0-16, that's ridiculous. And he's going to receive a whole lot of backlash. And you think those seats are empty now. Oh, boy, you just wait until next year. So, once again, kind of questionable moves here by the Browns as far as how they handle the situation. But I do, nonetheless, like the John Dorsey deal. And trust me, later on in this video, I'm going to get on the Browns hard about what happened yesterday. But let's move on from the Browns for a little bit. Now let's talk about the Army-Navy game. They won 14-13, and with Army beating Air Force earlier in the year, they have claimed their first Commander's Cup in 21 years. So congratulations to Army going out there and getting the Commander's Cup for the first time in 21 years. All right, going to college, sticking with college football, Baker Mayfield has won the Heisman Award over Lamar Jackson and Bryce Love in a landslide. Matter of fact, what I read up on, it was the 3rd largest landslide in Heisman vote history. I think Troy Smith is number 1. But nonetheless, Baker Mayfield is the Heisman Trophy winner, so congratulations to him. Congratulations to Oklahoma on a great season as they will be facing Georgia later on in the bowl season, I believe January 1st. So congratulations to Baker Mayfield. Congratulations to the School of Oklahoma. And, just keep doing your thing, Baker Mayfield. And hopefully you don't party as much because he's starting to party a lot and starting to look bad. But he has all the talent in the world to make it to the next level. So, once again, congratulations, Baker Mayfield. Stanton from the Marlins, I don't know how to pronounce his first name, is going to the New York Yankees in a trade. So Derek Jeter goes into Miami and helps out the New York Yankees. Like, of course, you have a Yankee running your organization. So the Yankees are favorites to win the AL. They're not favorites to win the World Series. Dodgers are, but the Yankees are not favorites to win the AL pennant. Now they have 2 guys in their lineup that has hit 50-plus home runs. That's dangerous. It doesn't matter who you have pitching. That is dangerous, especially when it comes to playoff time and your rotation starts to get short and your pitchers start to get tired. that is dangerous. So the Yankees, their dynasty is looking like it's about to be rebirth. Who knows? But we'll see how Aaron Boone handles that situation, handles that lineup as well. I think a lot of people should know that it's not going to be an instant boom. Like most people believe that if a big name gets paired up with another big name, it's just automatically magic. Take the hint with Oklahoma City. Um, but I think as time develops and they get to know each other better and everything like that, I think how they play defensively and also offensively, the Yankees are going to be really, really good. And once they get that lineup fixed out. All right, so sticking with baseball, jeez, I cannot, for some reason, I cannot pronounce his name. Otani, I think that's how you pronounce his name, joins the Angels. He was the biggest acquisition from Japan to come over here to America and play baseball. Every team wanted him, but he decides to sign with the Angels. So the Angels got stronger, and also he is expected to be a two-way player. So he's expected to do some hitting. He's also expected to do some pitching when they need him to. So congratulations to Otani on signing a deal with the Angels, and congratulations to the Angels for winning the sweepstakes for that. NBA news. Time to go to the NBA for a little bit. J.R. Smith has passed the Black Mamba Kobe Bryant in most three-pointer shot in NBA history. So congratulations to J.R. Smith with that. Going back to Saturday with the Wizards losing to the Clippers in a game that was a good game competitively, and then in the end, a lot of bullshit happened, as it usually kind of does in the NBA or any sports game, for real. But basically, they had 1.2 seconds left on the clock. Bradley Beal takes the inbound. The clock starts too early because the clock starts basically when the ball leaves the inbound area, is getting inbounded and is up in the air. And Bradley Beal did not touch the ball, but the clock went ahead and started because the scorekeeper thought that I think that was DeAndre Jordan defending the play, had tipped the ball, but clearly he didn't. But basically, Bradley Beal did not get the shot off in time, but he did make the shot. And easily, if the clock would have started on time, the Wizards would have won the game. Now, they reviewed it. They gave him 1.1 seconds left, and they put him in a difficult position to where they couldn't hit the shot and they couldn't get the play. So the Clippers edged out the victory against the Wizards because the referees called it the tough shit rule. I never heard of that. I think the referees were being giant dicks. Give them the 1.2 seconds, have them inbounded where they originally inbounded at, and redo the whole thing. I never heard of tough shit rule. I'm pretty sure it's a name for that. It's not called the tough shit rule, and I believe that the league is investigating that right now. But nonetheless, a game that the Wizards should have won ended up not winning, so it created some controversy, and this kind of sucks for the Wizards, but I think they'll bounce back. They do play each other later on this week. Yeah. Sticking with the NBA a little bit longer, Markelle Fultz's shoulder is not showing any soreness or any problems, so he is returning back to the lineup, and I think he played last night against the Pelicans, and also he will be reevaluated in 3 weeks on that shoulder to see how that shoulder is doing and if he can continue to play at the level that he's playing. So Markelle Fultz, who was the first overall pick in this year's draft, hopefully he stays healthy, and also continues to ball out. So big ups to him, and just stay healthy, Markelle. Okay, so now we go on to DeMarcus Cousins. This is kind of not that big, but still nonetheless something worth mentioning, and just showing how bad DeMarcus Cousins' temperament can get at moments. When the Pelicans and the Warriors played each other earlier last week, there's a video released and reports released that DeMarcus Cousins had to be held back and restrained by security to prevent Cousins to get into Kevin Durant. One of those things, once again, DeMarcus Cousins, he's just great player. One of those guys that you would love to have on your team when it comes to a basketball standpoint. But a personality standpoint, you're going to have a lot of trouble. And trust me, that PR department is gonna be one busy PR department as well. So there's that with DeMarcus Cousins. Once again, another incident. Is nothing new, is not surprising. But nonetheless, it's something that it kind of been quiet for a little bit with DeMarcus Cousins since he moved to New Orleans. But obviously, something like that has arisen. So, going back to the NFL, and this is where I talk about this team. Try not to get upset here because, once again, this is a team going into yesterday, 0-12. Packers team is banged up. They're hurt. With no Aaron Rodgers and no Ty Montgomery. And even though Williams has been running pretty good, they're going against the 6th best run defense in the league. Early in the drive, Packers scored a touchdown. Browns come right back, scored a touchdown, 7-7. Bit of stalemate here and there, but Browns drive down the field. Gets Deshaun Kaiser does a shovel pass to Duke Johnson. Duke Johnson goes in untouched, 14-7 Cleveland. They go into halftime leading 14-7. Second half, stalemate once again, but the Browns are driving down the field. Deshaun Kaiser throws a 2-yard pass to Corey Coleman for the touchdown. The Browns are up 14 points towards the end of the third quarter. It's looking really good. You just gotta hold on to the lead. That's all you gotta do. The defense is playing like the 2000 Ravens. The Packers couldn't run the ball. They barely could pass the ball. There was 3 and outs. Maybe they'll gain a first down here and there, but maybe a first down or two. But besides that, they couldn't really do anything. They were down 21-7 in majority of the last bit of the third quarter and into the majority of the fourth quarter. Trying to relax because trust me, this game pissed me off. So, Deshaun Kaiser already has thrown 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. The running game is doing a good job. We get to the point where it's 21-14, and the Browns do have the ball after causing the Packers to do a 3 and out, not a 3 and out, but to turn the ball over to us via punt. And we're driving down the field a little bit, got our run game established. It's 3rd and 4. It's 2nd and 10, sorry. Seth Duvall makes a wonderful catch. Mike McCarthy does not challenge that catch. It shows that, hey, he didn't drop the ball. So it's 3rd and 4. Go for a pass again, which is understandable. It's a good way to complete the pass, you get the first down, and keep the clock moving. Pass it to Njoku. Njoku drops the ball. It's not really Joku's fault because he was very tightly covered and it looked like the ball got swatted out of his hands. And Mike McCarthy challenged it. The reason why it's important that Mike McCarthy didn't challenge the Duvall catch is because he was able to use it on this catch, and it caused the turnover on downs for the Cleveland Browns. The Browns punt the ball. Where the fuck was the special teams at? Because their returner returned it 65 yards and got it down to the 25-yard line. So it's like, oh my God, like we had the lead 21-14 with 5 minutes to go. Oh my God, you're gonna blow this, aren't you? So the fucking Browns do what the fucking Browns do. They fucking blew the fucking lead. Oh my goodness. They blew the lead. They was up 21-14 with 5 minutes and 22 seconds left to go. They burned about 2.5 minutes off the clock. The Packers burn damn near 2 minutes off the clock. They brought it back down to I think it was 17 seconds left on the clock because Huntley didn't get in for the touchdown originally, and because they had to review it, it was a 10-second runoff, and then the clock started on the referee's go. Jason McCourty got his ass kicked by Davante Adams. The whole damn time that the Packers was coming back, Jason McCourty got his ass kicked by Davante fucking Adams. And trust me, it was a good play by the Packers. Trying to be unbiased here, but as a Cleveland Browns fan, what the fuck were we doing the whole damn time? We went from the 2000 Baltimore Ravens defense to looking like complete shit, like they usually do. I've watched all 13 of these games. It's like, what the hell were you doing? So, obviously we get to overtime. We win the coin toss. It's a third down. Sean Kaiser throws the ball up in the air after getting pressured by Clay Matthews. Nobody picks up Clay Matthews whatsoever. And Deshaun Kaiser did not read Clay Matthews on the blitz, even though you can clearly see on the TV screen that, hey, 52 is going to be blitzing, so might want to pick him up, might want to change the protection a little bit. But he just throws up a prayer, and it gets picked off. Packers are running the clock down, and then once again, Jason McCourty trying to cover Davante Adams. And Davante Adams gets the screen pass and runs it into the end zone for the game-winning touchdown. And the Browns let the Packers score 20 unanswered points. This is why we should not be keeping Hugh Jackson. I don't totally disagree with the pass call on the 3rd and 4 that led to the punt return that happened. And also, that's Chris Tabor's fault. Why are you telling Britton Colquitt to punt to the returner? You punt out of bounds in that situation. What is Chris Tabor telling Britton Colquitt to punt to the returner? For what? Knowing damn well that opportunity for a big return could have happened in OG in typical Cleveland fucking fashion, it fucking happened. It fucking happened. The hell is Chris Tabor telling him? But more importantly, guess what the hell the defense went to go do again? They played prevent defense again. They were not doing that the whole game, and then all of a sudden in the 4th quarter, we want to back our safeties 20 yards deep. Stop playing. The prevent defense does not work. It doesn't. It doesn't work 99% of the time. The only time it fucking works is when it's a Hail Mary situation, and if you got Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball, it's probably not going to work. So they're playing prevent defense. This is how the Packers are allowed to come back. We're playing soft zone. We're not putting enough pressure. Even the Huntley run shouldn't have happened if you have the linebackers move up. If you have 2 of your linebackers move up, trust your outside. You had 2 inside linebackers. Move them up. Trust your outside linebackers to defend that goal line. You got your safeties, you got your corners, but you have all 4 linebackers pushed back to the goal line. You have 3 defensive linemen up front. Then you have your safeties, and then you have your corners. Why not move the 2 inside linebackers up or the 2 outside linebackers up if you want better speed to catch Huntley because he can run the ball? Then you move up 2 of your linebackers, 1 inside, 1 outside, 2 inside, both outside linebackers. Move your linebackers up. One to bring extra pressure, the other one to play spy. Matter of fact, I'll bring up 3 linebackers for real, so you can have 1 play spy and 2 to bring pressure. But no, we're going to play prevent defense at the 12-yard line and push everybody back. Why didn't you run the ball on 3rd and 4? Why didn't you run the ball? Even if you don't get the first down, you make the Packers burn a timeout. Chris Tabor does his fucking job and tells Britton Colquitt, do not punt the ball to the returner, punt it out of bounds. This game was poorly managed by every single decision maker on that team. Hugh Jackson managed the clock poorly once again. Greg Williams managed his defense poorly once again. And Chris Tabor managed special teams absolutely terrible in the last 3 minutes of the fucking 4th quarter. In typical Cleveland Browns fashion, we find a way to blow a lead. And the first thing I see when we lose the game is people blaming DeShone Kizer. So Kessler's going to come in and do better. Okay, yeah. Oh, okay. Hogan's going to come in and do outstanding. Okay, this was DeShone Kizer's best damn game. This whole damn season. This is his best game since the Pittsburgh game in week 1. It's the best game he had. He looked good. He made some boneheaded rookie mistakes like he normally does, or whatever it may be. But if we're trying to run quarterbacks out of town, this is why we can't have a quarterback. Because there's potential in DeShone Kizer. There's potential. I don't know how far that potential is. I don't know where his ceiling is at. But there's potential. There's something there. If we run them out of town, another team is going to take that potential and run with it. A team that needs a quarterback. Denver. Denver is a prime example. The Giants are becoming one of those teams. The Jacksonville Jaguars. There's people trying to run him out of town for what? For what? He made the first interception. That was bad. That was bad. I think Coleman was the intended receiver. The cornerback held Coleman back a little bit from coming back to the ball, which made Clinton Dix run to the ball and throw it and pick the ball off. It's like, referee, I know you saw Coleman trying to get back to the ball, and yet the cornerback's back is behind the ball, and he's holding Corey Coleman back before the ball reaches Clinton Dix. Okay. Then they called a few illegal uses of the hands, which was you didn't really see anything. It's like any other time teams get away with that. Our defense played like shit because, and I'm sorry, but sorry, not sorry. It's Greg Williams' fault. Obviously the talent goes out there and does the job. They should have taken better, but this is what happens when you play prevent defense all the time. It leaves gaps open. You're playing soft zone. It leaves gaps open. You can throw quick slant routes. You can throw hitch routes. This is what happens. You got a speedy a quarterback, he can run up the middle. Four linebackers, and you're telling me you couldn't move up at least 2 of them to create pressure to prevent him from running? Come on. Come on. Absolutely disgusting by the way we lost that game. Just fucking terrible. This is why Hugh should not stay as the head coach. Like, why not run the ball? Why are you selecting... Like I said, I can't totally... What's the word I'm looking for? I can't totally... It's right there on the tip of my tongue. Let's just say discard it. Because I get why he passed the ball. I totally get it. And in most situations, if you're any other team, it's probably not the worst idea. And it wasn't the worst idea, but you have Correll who's having a monster game. They cannot stop Correll. Give the ball up to Correll. Even do a draw play. The Packers was expecting you to pass. You do a draw play, because any other time we do draw plays when they expect to run. Any other fucking time. This is the time where you do a draw play. So you do the draw play. You do the draw play. Give it to Corral up the middle. See what he can do. Because it does one or two things. It either runs the clock, it runs the time down on the clock. Or, which probably would have happened, is the latter. Mike McCarthy blows his final timeout. If the Browns didn't get the first down. Now, if they got the first down, Mike McCarthy probably still does burn that timeout, but you still get that first down. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But even if it's like a 4th and 1 or a 4th and 2, you're making the Packers blow a timeout, and this is where your special teams coordinator that you decided to keep tells Britton Colquitt, punt the damn football out of bounds. And then you stop playing prevent defense. This was a game that should not have been lost, but we find a way to fucking lose the game. So congratulations, Hugh Jackson. Congratulations, Jimmy Haslam. Good job. 2 thumbs up right here for, especially to you, Jimmy Haslam. Good job. 2 thumbs up for keeping a 1-28 head coach. Good job. Congratulations. Okay, now that I got that out of my system, let's go to the Goodell extension. 5 years, $200 million. Nobody's going to like this. So, I don't. He didn't get his $50 million a year. He didn't get his private jet, I don't think. So, I guess that's a plus. I guess. I don't know. Alright, going to wrestling news for a little bit. What ended up breaking out yesterday, and that is Rich Swann got arrested for domestic violence and also kidnapping. This was kind of a big deal due to the fact that he was a key player in the 205 Live. Kind of came out of left field. I don't think a lot of people expected this or saw this coming. But nonetheless, Rich Swann got arrested, and he is suspended from the WWE. He's not fired, but obviously there's going to be a full investigation launched, and once the results come out for that, 9 times out of 10, he's probably going to get fired for that. Right. All right, now it's time to wrap up this with the key games of the week, games that I will be giving you guys to look out for around the world of sports that I feel like are important and that could potentially be games that can come down to the wire or finish within, with certain sports finish within, with NBA finish within 10 points. All right, so we're going to actually start off, though, with some NHL action. The Washington Capitals face the New York Islanders today. 2 teams that are looking to battle each other out in the standings. Look for Tampa Bay Lightnings versus the St. Louis Blues, which is happening tomorrow. The Capitals face off against the Boston Bruins, which is December 14th. And then the Islanders face off the Columbus Blue Jackets, which will also be happening December 14th as well. Going to NBA, Portland versus Golden State. This is their first meeting since their playoff appearances for both teams, since Portland lost to Golden State in the playoffs. That will be happening tonight, so look out for that game. I think that's going to be really interesting, and I think that's going to be a good game. A lot of storytelling in that. Tomorrow, Philadelphia 76ers go against the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think that game is going to be really good. 2 young teams battling out once again. It's kind of like the Lakers game and the 76ers game. I think that's something that is going to be going down to the wire. I don't expect that to be a blowout at all. Even though Philadelphia is not winning a lot of their games, Philadelphia is a good team, and they're one of those teams that, once again, like I said last week, they are going to be that team that raises some eyebrows. They already got my eyes open. They're already raising my eyebrows. I'm waiting to see what they can do for the next few months and upcoming years. So look out for the Timberwolves versus the Philadelphia 76ers, which is happening tomorrow. Depending on, put a question mark here, because depending on Paul George's injury, This is a key game. Oklahoma City goes to Indiana to face against the Pacers, and if Paul George is cleared to play, this would be Paul George's first appearance in Indiana since the trade, or a public appearance, I should say, since the trade. Don't know how that's going to turn out. If the fans are going to boo him, if they're going to cheer him, if he plays, how emotional he's going to be playing back in Indiana. Who knows? But nonetheless, look out for that game. Especially if Paul George plays, look out for that game. And by the way, big ups to Victor Oladipo scoring 47 points last night in their win against Denver. He stepped up big time, and I've always liked him. I always saw a lot of potential in him, and that was one of those games where it's like, okay, it kind of validated my thoughts, about him, and I hope he continues to ball out. In general, like he's not going to score 47 every night, but I hope he continues to ball out. Also, December, that will be happening Wednesday, December 13th. By the way, can't remember if I mentioned that or not. Keeping on with the Pacers a little bit, they face against the Pistons on the 15th. The Pistons have been struggling lately after the hot start that they have. But once again, a rivalry game coming back. I think that's a game to look out for. Two teams, once again, fighting in the standings of the East. Clippers and Wizards. I talked about this earlier in the video. Definitely look out for the Clippers versus the Wizards. The Clippers do go to Washington this time, and I think that crowd is going to be a little bit more pumped up than what it would usually be because of what happened this past Saturday. So it's a game to look out for, definitely. San Antonio versus Houston. We got the number one seeded team in the West right now. San Antonio's always in that mix. I can't remember what seeding there was off the top of my head. But two teams, once again, battling it out. Potential playoff matchup here. This is going to be a really exciting game. That will be happening December 15th. That'll be happening Friday. Definitely a game to look out for as well with that. Happening on the 16th, OKC goes to New York Knicks. So 2 out of their 3 big 3, Westbrook, Melo, and George. Don't know about George, and if Melo stays healthy throughout the week, we're going to see Melo's return to the Garden. Really want to see that return as well to see how the crowd reacts. I think the crowd is going to cheer him, especially with all he's done for the Knicks in his time there. But we'll see what happens with that. Melo will be returning to the Garden for the first time in a OKC uniform. So let's see how that turns out with that. Sticking with basketball, with NCAA basketball now, Oklahoma versus Wichita State. Wichita State's ranked number 4 in the nation right now. Oklahoma has a good record, but they're unranked, I believe. I think that's going to be a good game against two teams that are, playing good basketball as in general. And then switching over to the NFL, a game that's happening Saturday, a game that has a lot, and I mean a lot of playoff implications on the line, and it could be for the division. Who knows? Because the Raiders are still in it, even though with their bad loss against Kansas City. The Chargers goes to Kansas City. This Chargers versus the Chiefs. Both teams are 7-6. This is basically, I'm going to call it might as well, unless some crazy stuff happens in the last 2 weeks, last 2 to 3 weeks. Chargers going against Kansas City. Kansas City snapped their 4-game losing streak. The Chargers are trying to stay white hot. Ever since their 0-4 start, they have turned the corner around and they went 7-2 in the last 9 weeks. It's going to be a very interesting matchup. It's going to be a lot of playoff implications. And I believe whoever wins this game is basically going to take the division, the AFC West division. So there's the weekend review. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles for winning the NFC East. Hopefully Carson Wentz can get healthy enough for the playoffs. If I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, if I'm Doug Peterson, I'm sitting out Carson Wentz until the end. Hopefully he gets back in time for the playoffs. But I think they're going to be in good hands with Nick Foles nonetheless. But yeah, so congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. Congratulations to the Pittsburgh Steelers on winning the AFC North, beating the Baltimore Ravens 39-38, and another classic between those two teams. So congratulations to both of those teams. We have two spots that are officially locked up, and I believe if New England beats Miami tonight, I believe they will also clinch the AFC East. I believe mathematically they would. So congratulations to those two teams, however. But this has been another edition of the Weekend Review for the Sports Room podcast. I am Tyro Jackson, and you all have a blessed week.